I am an Airbnb operator. I started an Airbnb management company based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, around the end of 2016. We scouted out various unrented properties in the city center, approached the owners and offered our services to turn their homes into an Airbnb unit, and manage the ins and outs of the whole business. Now, there were numerous reported paranormal events that came from the other operators, which was posted on our Facebook group. Anything from strange knocking of bathroom doors to full-on poltergeist activities, chucking plates and cups around the home, complete with shaky vertical camera videos. Naturally, I thought I'd share some of the more unexplainable events that actually happened to me. My first story happened in a 2-year-old condominium, about 2 kilometers from the town center. It was some unit that we just took over, and the owner requested that we oversee some new cabinets being installed. I had to be there at around 10 a.m. to open the door for the workers to enter. That morning, I arrived a little earlier to get some paintings hung up. When I unlocked the door, however, I heard footsteps in the master bedroom to my right. I walked in and saw 2 persons back facing me, hunched over and fiddling around where the cabinets were supposed to be installed. I called out to them and asked them why didn't they call me. No response. Thinking nothing of it, I headed to the other room to start on my own work. After about 30 minutes of messing about, I decided to go get some breakfast on the ground floor. I was happily gobbling down some Indian prata bread with dal when my phone rang. It was the contractors, and they were giving me hell for being late. They have been waiting for the last 15 minutes at the entrance of the unit. I was confused, but quickly finished my breakfast and paid to leave. To my amazement, when I turned the corner, the 2 guys I saw earlier in the unit was outside, waiting for me. They looked understandably impatient and urged me to hurry up and open the door. One thing I definitely remember was that I left the door unlocked when I left for breakfast, but when I tried the door, it was mysteriously locked. There was no sign that anyone was ever working in that spot where I saw the 2 guys. This one left me more confused and scared. The next one was a relayed incident from one of my employees. The place was built like a resort with varying floors and multiple swimming pools in different zones. And it was all built about 20 years ago. It had lots of flora and fauna, which provided a lot of shade, but it also gave the place a gloomy and wet facade. We were about 3 months into the Airbnb operation when one of my cleaner ladies complained that she will be unwilling to work alone in the apartment ever again. I asked her why, and she sounded off about how it was simply too big for her to clean alone. But a few days later, I caught her and I asked her again. She confessed that when she was cleaning the place, she constantly felt watched and she would walk into cold pockets of air all over the house. Mind you, this is Malaysia. 30 degrees is a normal midday weather. She ended the conversation by stating in Malay that there were actually 2 ladies in that unit, and they had held their own decapitated head in their arms while floating behind her, watching her clean on multiple occasions. Granted that she's always been able to see spirits, this one was too much for her. I myself had an experience in that condominium. I was just leaving the place after an inspection, and while walking towards the elevator lobby, I heard a distinct set of footsteps pacing away. I turned a corner and caught a glimpse of someone's foot disappearing into the entrance of a doorway of another unit. I thought nothing of it and called the elevator. About a minute of waiting, I noticed something really odd. I didn't hear any sounds of keys or locks jingling or doors opening. There was complete silence. I slowly paced towards the doorway out of some morbid curiosity, and there was no one there. The door looked untouched for months. Dust was all over the grills, no shoes, no racks, nothing. I tried to catch a glimpse of the interior, but I couldn't see anything. No clothes hung out to dry, no sign of any occupants. At that point, I just backed away and got into the elevator as swiftly as I saw the foot disappear. My third story happened in an old office/apartment complex. The building is probably 40 years old, and the only appeal was that it was located in the center of the shopping district and was walking distance to everything. We had recently took over one of the units that has 3 bedrooms and was in the process of refurbishing it. I had to stay back late in the unit, putting together tables and chairs and cleaning up. By the time I decided I've had enough, it was peak traffic hour, and I figured I'll take a nap before braving the atrocious gridlock in downtown Kuala Lumpur. I woke up at about 7:45 feeling hungry, and I went straight to the ensuite bathroom to wash up and leave. After washing my face, I took out my phone and turned on the selfie camera to make sure I didn't look like a hobo. The face on the screen was not my face. It was inexplicably different and uncanny, like someone was wearing my face, but it was anchored in the wrong places. And then I saw a separate face peeking out from behind me. A pale, unrecognizable face of a female. I saw one side of her eye gazing into mine before her eyes narrowed as the sides of her mouth reached up and split the side of her face, giving her an unearthly, unintentional grin. I couldn't get out of there fast enough. I don't remember dropping my phone because I had to go back the next day to look for it. My phone's battery was completely drained and the screen was cracked at the corner, just laying there where I saw the thing. When I got it back up, I found a video in the gallery and the timestamp was from the day before. It was a 2-hour-long video of absolute blackness, which was weird enough, but occasionally you could hear muffled screaming, sounding like it was coming from the next room. Needless to say, I deleted that video and never stayed in the unit alone ever again, not even during the day. This final one happened in a brand new condominium. It was about 2 months after vacant possession. We didn't manage any units there, but we were interested, so I booked one of the already existing Airbnbs to scout out the location. And before I go any further, I'd like to bring your attention to the layout of the condominium. The whole development is split into 3 main towers. Each floor had 10 units, and each unit had a direct elevator shaft, meaning to say there were at least 10 elevator shafts in each tower, serving each single unit on each floor. And each floor opened directly into the home, which made it, I guess, exclusive. Then there were the service elevators, which served as the fire brigade elevators as well. These service elevators gave you access to the service areas where all the pipelines and electrical cables are on each floor. But you have to have a floor-specific access card to access the service area. Now, each tower had a special feature the sky gym that offered a panoramic view of the city, a Swedish themed garden on the 43rd floor, a jacuzzi river, and they were all only accessible from the service elevator. Now it was 9 a.m. in the morning and I decided to take some photos of the Swedish themed garden on the 43rd floor of Tower 3. After about 5 minutes of searching for the service elevator, I found it tucked away in an obscure corner of the floor. I called the elevator, it came, and I punched 43 on the panel and waited. A few moments later, the doors opened and I stepped out of the enclosure. On the walls were confusing signages, markings for the pool, the gym, and the garden, which pointed up. I wandered around the service area and then it hit me. I got off on the wrong floor. It was 13A. Now, in Chinese culture, the number 4 sounds a bit too much like death, 死, and 14 sounded a bit too much like certain death, 十四. Thus, superstitious developers cleverly marked each level that ended with a 4 as 3A. Level 13A essentially meant level 14. On realizing my mistake, I turned back around the corner and headed back towards the elevator. That's when I heard it. A slow, sorrowful moaning of a female echoing in the empty, dim service hallway. Now, it sounded like it came from everywhere, but as I walked towards the elevator, it became apparent that it was coming from behind me. It would let out long, depressing moans which quickly devolved into wails and hysterical bawlings. As I almost stumbled down the hallway, my fists basically pounding the elevator panel when I reached it. I turned around and stared down the deserted hallway, and I let out a loud cough. My reasoning was that maybe someone was just sad and needed a private place to cry it out, and that I would let her know that the service area wasn't that private. But she didn't stop. She continued her eerie wailing, and it sounded like it was coming closer. Before I darted into the elevator, I caught sight of a head of hair emerging from the corner. It was 9 feet in the air, at least. I gave all kinds of excuses to my team that place wasn't a good place to do Airbnb. Bad layout, bad location, bad security, bad spirit management. And there you have it. Till the next time you book an Airbnb.